attachment.
What's up, guys? Wally Beach River Landscapes. Yes, I'm not wearing a hat today. I got little foo-foo hair. I don't care. So while I'm sitting here waiting to pick up my little sweethearts from school, I thought that I would get on here and have a discussion with you because I like to have discussions with you guys. We've been having a lot of those lately. But this one is, so we get, we get a lot of questions a lot of times. We get a lot of questions, and a lot of the questions are really awesome. And we really like to try to answer these questions as much as possible. So one question that sticks out in my mind, it's been asked in a roundabout way a few times, but it really sticks out in my mind, is how have you failed in the past, and what can I do to not, follow the same path? So how to fail, I guess, is the question, right? How to fail. And what I mean is how to fail is not just go, I'm not going to go work today and then just forget that and just leave everything alone and just give up and go move, underneath a bridge or pier or something. How do you do your job, own a business, and then find yourself like screwed because you are losing everything? How do you get to that point, right? How do you start off so good and get into such a bad spot? So I'm going to explain something. I'm going to learn you on what I've had to deal with before, okay? So, I got into lawn maintenance a long time ago. It's been a while. What is it? 18, 12? Oh my God. It's 10, I don't know, whatever. It's been over a decade. So I've been doing this. So the thing is everything started out strong, enthusiasm, pumping, doing a good job, getting out there. You don't even worry about being tired. You don't worry about any of that crap. You know what I'm saying? You are not tired. You are not tired. You know what I'm saying? You just do whatever you got to do and blah, 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 blah. So what happened with, everything was going good. Everything was doing what it's supposed to do. Had just tons of clients. Everything was kicking butt. I think what happened, this is way back in the day. It's not now. So I learned. So I think what happened was, I think that I physically and mentally kind of reached a point where I felt a little burned out. You know what I'm saying? So I felt a little burned out. Had employees and everything at the time too. So what I did was made a huge mistake in trusting the guys to do the job and me never checking up on them. And I did that for months and months and months and months and months. I would go to work and all that stuff, and I was just so burnt out that I was like, I got employees, I'll let them take care of it. I'll manage them over the phone. I'll show up on the properties here and there and all that kind of stuff and blah, 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 blah. And everything will be fine. And that did not work out well at all. That one almost year where I was going through a lot of other stuff too, though, I was going through a lot of personal stuff and all that, and it took a toll on me. And it's hard to say, it's hard to admit when you're depressed, you know what I'm saying? And it's hard to admit that kind of stuff. But during this period, that's how I felt, you know what I mean? But keep in mind, you still got kids, you still have responsibilities, you got to man up, I think even the strongest of us find ourselves just not having the strength, 100% of the time. So, and that's okay. We're all human. So I got really, I don't want to say lazy. It wasn't about being lazy, because I'm not a lazy guy by nature at all. I was just going stuff, and I lost the will and the drive to be at work every day and doing what needed to be done. And I was depending on other people to do it. I got complacent, and that's what happened. So, and complacency doesn't apply to only situations like that. It applies to things when everything is going great, and you're great and everything's great. You just take things for granted. Being complacent is actually a really, really big enemy in our line of work, especially our line of work. And I say especially because we're not, we don't have, the contracts with, telephone spectrums, that last for, 10 years. You know what I mean? We don't have a lease that lasts for, 20 years on a building. So we are basically a 30-day out, type of business. You know what I'm saying? So that's basically what we all are. So we have to function on the premise that we could be gone at any time, anywhere. Typically, some of you guys may be longer, 2 or 3 years, whatever. But here, the average 30 days, I don't care who you are, that's average, okay, down here, right here where I'm at. I've done 60-day outs and all that stuff at the most, but blah, blah, blah. You get what I'm saying? Either way, man, you could be gone soon. So complacency is really bad. Back then, like I said, I had people doing things. They told me they were doing it, and I chose to believe them instead of checking on it myself. I lost so much business, it was absolutely ridiculous. I got really complacent. And all it took was 1 year, guys. All right, listen, all it took was 1 year. Only 1 year. And I'm going to tell you how much money that was getting billed at during that time. So nearly $40,000 a month is what was being billed out, in lawn maintenance, not even landscaping, not, irrigation, no extra stuff. Just being billed out at that. Stuff that I was kind of going through, and that's no excuse, man. I don't even want to hear it. That's no excuse. But I'm just saying that is what the situation was for me. So I got complacent, and you can get complacent, like I said, when everything's great and happy, and it can fall apart on you too. And I think that was mixed in. I think actually what it was is I got a little complacent first, and then all the other crap jumped into it, and then I really became complacent. You know what I mean? But when you take for granted how much work you have and think that people aren't going anywhere, your business is over as you know it. So I was putting out $40,000 a month, and I pretty much lost all of it over a couple year period. It was just a downward spiral. So I started losing clients, and I never lose clients. And then I'll start freaking out, why are we losing clients? And I go out and I see things that aren't being done and all this and that. And a lot of these neighborhoods, I was doing, like 65 in one neighborhood, like 40 something in another neighborhood. So we were the go-to guys in a lot of neighborhoods. So once we started falling, it became a domino effect. It just became a domino effect. And it was client after client to the point to where I couldn't save them anymore, which isn't like me. I can pretty much save anything, but usually I don't have to save anything because we do a good job, but everybody screws up every once in a while, and, you can fix it. But there was no fixing this. The spiral became so bad that it was unstoppable. And no matter what I did, it felt like something was happening beyond my control almost. And all the clients were just being ripped out from underneath me. Even people that had me for a while and that were really happy. They're just like, we just hadn't seen you here in a while, and blah, 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 blah. Now, there's another thing with that. Like, if you're an owner and you have employees, you shouldn't have to be on the properties all the time. That's a whole nother thing. That's, a lot of things I've learned. I'm going to do a whole thing on time management, property management, as a business owner in a small landscape business, because I don't know what it's like to run a multi-million-dollar landscape business, but I do know how to run or I do have advice on running a small, very successful landscape and lawn business. So I want to do a whole different thing on time management and how you manage condo properties, employees, landscaping, irrigation checks, all that stuff. It's a whole other thing. But anyways, guys, so again, let's get back on this. I just lost it all. It was a downward spiral, and it just it took a real big toll on me. I lost it. So, when you go back to the question, how can I fail? The first thing that I will tell somebody, no matter where you are or how good you feel about where your business is at the time, don't ever become complacent. Don't you ever think, okay, it's okay, like one day here, one day there. Man, I need a couple of days to just whatever, let the guys handle, blah, 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 blah. And this goes for being solo too. It's the same thing. Oh, I'm good, man. Forget it. It's rain. They'll be all right. I don't need to go. They're not going to get rid of me. And you cannot take for granted or get complacent. I think that this is one business where we have to stay on our toes all the time. We have to expect that we're not going to keep a client in order to keep a client, almost. You know what I'm saying? Holla if you hear me. Let me know what you think about that. But that's how I feel about it. That's how I operate. I operate like we could lose them at any moment and all that stuff, because we can, especially in commercial lawn maintenance. It's not like homes. But the biggest way to fail The biggest way. It's not about nice equipment, crappy equipment. It's not about good employees, bad employees. It's not about what you're wearing, your clothes. It's not even about your overall nice attitude or mean attitude towards people. That's not even it. I think the number one way to fail, in my opinion, it was for me, was becoming complacent and taking everything for granted. It was over. You know what I'm saying? $40,000 a month. Boom. I mean, enough money to, when you're a small little business, after, expenses and everything, you have so much, you can do whatever you want. You know what I'm saying? To an extent, you know what I mean? You have a lot of freedom, to do what you want. And I lost all that, and, I had a lot of employees, a lot of expenses. Owning a lawn maintenance company is insanely expensive, dude. There's so much overhead. There's so much expense. There's so much everything. It's not always easy. That's why you bust your butt so you can get to a point like I did. I worked for many years to get to that point. And then what I did was I just became complacent after all of that work because I got burned out. So I got burned out and then it backfired on me. So becoming complacent is your worst enemy. It's not about being late. It's not about being early. It's not about any of that. Who is calling me? So yeah, like I was saying, that's Leah. I have to take the call every time she calls because y'all know what's going to happen. I don't answer Leah call. She going to take them balls. She going to cut them off. Anyways, so that's that. Do not become complacent. The moment that you feel like you feel like laying there, you don't feel like doing anything. The moment that you feel like you can just not worry about it, is the moment that you need to realize your business may start tanking. Right there at that moment. The moment where you're just like, meh, I'm not going to worry about it right now. It'll be good. No big deal. The moment you start doing that and it becomes a habit, that is when your business is going to tank. That's when it's going to fail. I mean, maybe not. Maybe you got one of them, super lucky bones in your pinky finger and nothing bad ever happens to you. That's awesome for you. But, and I know this sounds like common sense stuff, man, but there are a lot of types of businesses that can be very complacent and they're very successful. You can review them all you want. You can say what you want. They're not going anywhere. That doesn't work with us. That doesn't work with us. So when you are complacent and you feel, and complacency is not a bad thing. Let me reiterate. Okay, let me just jump back. So I'm not saying being complacent like being happy with where you're at in your business, okay? Because I am, a couple more accounts and I'll be complacent with where I want the business to go, where I want it to go for us, right? I'm talking about being complacent in your business to the point to where you don't feel like you have to check on things, like you don't feel that you have to, who is the world? I'll call you back. Like you don't have to stay on top of things. They're not going anywhere. Everything will be all right. I guess it's more taking it for granted. So when you do that here, all it takes, man, is one time not showing up, not returning a phone call, combined together, and you can be done. And you can just watch a whole huge, massive $500,000 a year in my case just flush right down the drain and be gone and have nothing to show for it, and it's all gone. You know what I'm saying? So now I have moments just like all of you guys. We all get burnt out. We all have days and we all have weeks, but I never shut it off. I will never do that again. When I feel like just shutting it off, what I do is turn it on. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, you have to develop a mentality that contradicts what your subconscious or what your mind is trying to tell you to do. Like, dude, that whole like, yeah, when it does that, just sound like a dying goat. You have to use the voice in the back of my head. You have to use the voice in the back of your head to change that. You have to use something to motivate you to not take it for granted, to not become so complacent that you don't care about your own business. If you don't care about it, get rid of it or stop doing it. But to think that you can do what you want and it's going to just keep rolling without you, we have bad to the bone employees, dude. I mean, guys that work with us, not for us. You know what I'm saying? Guys that just go to town. If I am not there, if I am not a part of it, it will not continue. It will work for a while and it will disappear. End of story. I don't care if I was the crew leader and somebody else owned it. Even if I ran it for somebody else, it's going to go on the ground if they're never around. That's just how it is. When it's your baby, it's your baby. You can't go, oh, that dude is so good, he'll take care of it, I don't have anything to worry about. You can't do that. Or you can say, oh, I'm so good, they're never going to fire me. They won't find anybody like me. Dude, think again, man. I see this attitude so many times and people wonder why they lose business. It's just crazy. Go out of your way, do what you have to do. I don't let anybody talk down to me. I don't really kiss anybody's butt, any of that stuff. I develop really awesome relationships with people, and that's how we work. You know what I'm saying? It's all about the what's up, you know? So I'll talk to some of my property managers, you know? So it's you have to just dig down and find that part in you that will not let you watch stuff that you worked for disappear. So how do you fail? You take it for granted. You become overly complacent and thinking that you're just the bomb, you're the shit, and no one is going to replace you ever. You know what I'm saying? No matter what you do. That's how you fail in lawn maintenance. I'm going to just end this on this tip. How do you succeed in lawn maintenance? I'm going to give you 3 things, man. 3 things. I'm just thinking of them off the top of my head, so they may not be the best 3 things. First and foremost, communication. The number one thing that I hear about people is no communication between their landscaper. They can't get them on the phone, blah, 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 blah. Bro, you return a phone call, you're in there. Communication. Develop a relationship. Don't just be from afar. Don't be a vendor and let them be, you know, an employer. Don't do that. Don't just get that 1099. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't do that. Develop a relationship. And the obvious part is do some sick freaking work. You know what I'm saying? Do your job. Return a phone call. Just communication, man. Communication, number 1. All right, guys. I think I rambled on too much. Can't stand hearing my own mouth when it's talking. All right. Y'all got any ideas or comments about anything I said? Please leave a message down below. Bye-bye.